Hello, and welcome to my channel. I am Ohemaa, and today I am going to be reviewing Hello Cupid 3.0. So this is, I think, like the fourth iteration of Hello Cupid. I did previously review Hello Cupid, the original, with Robin and Whitney and Robin. So I will have that in the description box below, or I will have a card in case you want to check that out. This is going to be episode 1 and episode 2. So in the first episode, we're pretty much getting an introduction of everyone. But we start off with Terrence. So Terrence is online and he gets a message, and in that message it's like a montage of the different people who have been part of Hello Cupid. So you see Whitney, you see Robin, I believe you also see Monisha, you see Farrah. So you see different people who have been, on Hello Cupid. And, he's talking about what he's looking for, what he does, and he's like, I am looking for a genus who is Martin, which I thought was, kind of cute. So now we are on the show, and the talk show's host, his name is AJ Galvin. So he's talking about the show, pretty much 6 singles, looking for love. You're gonna have three men, 3 women. So for the women, we have Zaya, we have not Zaya. I'm trying to go in the order that we see them. So we have Jasmine. She's supposed to be from the UK. Don't know if she really is, but she's supposed to be from the UK. She's like, I'm from Brixton. Then we have Zaya, and then we have Brianna. And then for the guys, we have Terrence. We have, was it Terrence? I'm not sure. But we have Terrence, we have Ali, and we have Drew. Actually, we have Drew, we have Terrence, we have Ali. So Zaya, I believe Jasmine is a model. Zaya is an event planner from Cali. Brianna, she's from the Bronx, where her family's from DR, and she works in production and TV. Then with Drew is a marketing consultant. Terrence, he runs his own nonprofit and he's from Cali. Ali, I'm not sure, but it's quite interesting because he wears a jacket and it says #narcissist, which as we're watching the show, it definitely tracks. Like, he is in fact a narcissist. The men and the women, they're mingling, sort of like a speed date kind of thing. So Jazz is talking to Ali, and she's like, oh my goodness, my feet hurt, can you rub my feet for me? And they go sit somewhere. Mind you, they just met each other, already sitting down somewhere. This man took her shoes off and started rubbing her feet. I'm sorry, if I just met somebody, no. I don't know you like that. So when their time was up, it was time for Drew. Drew also rubbed her feet. But when it came to Terrence was like, no. And she was like she wasn't happy about that at all. Zaya asks Ali how often he works out, and he just lifts his shirt up. It's like, why couldn't you just say? But then again, this is probably what people do at speed dating, but it was just like, was that really necessary? But once again, he's supposed to be the narcissist, but I'm just like, this is what we're doing? Like, I ask a simple question and that's what you choose to do. So then everyone is back on the couch. Jasmine is very upset about Terrence, and even AJ is kind of like, yeah, why didn't you? And it's just like, no, if you just met someone, I don't think that's something that should be done. Like, already y'all just met, and that's one of the things. I understand your feet hurt, okay, let's go sit down. But to be like, my feet hurt, and also the fact that you're okay with the man choosing to rub your feet is just like, once again, y'all just met. Or did they? Because there are things that go on behind the scenes that it's like, did they just meet? But for the sake of this episode, I'm going to say that they just met, because to some degree, that's what it looks like, at least for most of them. Keep watching and you'll see why I made that comment. So Terrence's reasoning behind not wanting to rub her feet makes sense, because he's like, it takes more than 90 seconds for me to know someone and to feel comfortable with rubbing their feet. Drew agrees, but it's like, you rubbed her feet also, so it's like, okay, whatever. And as far as Ali is like, look, I'm just happy to be here. I'm happy to go on a date with all three of these women. That's his thing. Like, yep, I'm happy to be here. Let's get this party started, is the vibe that goes on. So that that portion of the show ends, and then as everyone is gathering their things, someone from production talks to Drew, and it was just like, okay, what's going on? So I think Terrence might have been the first person to head out, because I know, like, we see Jasmine sitting somewhere. Excuse me, and I believe, I think everybody else was, just lingering around. I do know that Terrence took like a small bag, maybe a briefcase, and he goes, and then someone from production comes in. It's like, can y'all, can you please clear out the room so I can talk to Drew? So they leave. Zaya goes to her car, and as she's getting ready to go in, Drew comes out. And, she's pretty much like, it seemed pretty intense back there. What's going on? Which was like, okay, she's direct. Not bad. And he tells her, he's like, they're pretty much like, I'm like a wet blanket. And she's like, what? I didn't get that vibe at all, which didn't get that at all. So again, that was the sign that it's like, okay, they're trying to get someone to be what they're not supposed to be, which seems to be a thing. I've seen a few documentaries, and it seems, or maybe it would be considered a docu-series, where production, sometimes they do try to nudge people to do a little bit more than they may want to do. So this didn't seem like a far stretch whatsoever. So, they both tell each other, have a good night. Zaya goes home. Zaya goes home. She's cooking some food that looks really delicious. She sits down on the couch. She's texting with her sister. I'm not sure who her sister is. For some reason, I keep wanting to think it's Robin, but I don't know. I don't think so, because I know Robin had a sister, and I don't think it was her. But then again, people do get recast. So that may not be her sister. Maybe that's something that'll be discovered. Again, I haven't made it past episode 2, so who knows. But for now, we'll just say sister. So she's texting with her sister, and she's like, she texts her sister, and she mentions something about her little secret. And it's like, little secret? So while she's eating, somebody comes to sit next to her, and I thought this would be a dream sequence. I don't really like how it transitioned. I don't know, I just feel like it probably could have been done better. Not sure how exactly, but it just seemed kind of weird. Maybe somebody walked in and she was like, oh, hi. And then, she hugs the person, and then that way we see who it is from the back of their head, or from, them holding hands or something. Maybe something like that would have been better. But either way, we see that it is Terrence, and they're talking about, like their wedding, and it's like, oh. So yeah, they're talking about their wedding, and then they make a comment saying that the show is going to pay for their wedding, because the prize, I didn't mention, is $50,000. And I believe like a secret destination getaway, something like that. But yes, it's $50,000. So she's like, it's going to pay for our wedding. We'll be able to go here. We'll be able to do this. And of course, her big thing, one of the big things that she keeps pushing, is we need to stay focused. So she tells him we need to stay focused, pretty much so that they can win the money, and that will be used to pay for the wedding. They go to the room, they're being cute, making out, all that stuff. So now Terrence is on his cooking date with Jasmine. So yeah, Terrence is eating a chili pepper, and Jasmine is like, do you mind with my apron? And he helps her out, and then she's like doing a lot. She's doing a lot, I guess, trying to win him over. But actually no, because production comes in, and they're like, yes, that's what we want, that's what we're looking for. So at this point, Terrence is home. Terrence and Zaya, they like to watch the episodes together. So they're watching the episode together, and Zaya is just like, And Terrence is like looking very confused and uncomfortable. Like, what is this? What's going on? Like, he just looks very, very confused about what's going on. And that's how that episode ends. So in episode 2, we see it starts off with Zaya's audition. So we get a little bit of, her getting herself ready for what I believe is work. We see, she just looks, like really cute, put together, taking care of stuff. Of course, there is some cooking. I think she really enjoys cooking, but that's just from what I've seen. But either way, Terry and Zaya watch his date with Jasmine, and they are so uncomfortable. They're not happy with how the final product came out at all. Zaya mentions that it's not a free pass for him to date other women, but it's like, so then why are y'all on the show if if you don't want him to date other women? Now, I don't think he really enjoys it. I think because, again, they are trying to finesse so that they can get the $50,000 to pay for their wedding. So she might be fine with, again, this is just from what I see, she might be okay with, dating other people, but I don't think it's something, I don't think he enjoys it, but he's trying to, act the best way possible so that they can get the money. So she locks the bedroom door, and you can tell that she is upset. He's, on the other side of the door. We don't see it, but we can hear it. He's on the other side of the door. He's like, like, come on, Zaya. Like, he's being apologetic, and she just doesn't want to hear it. So we see that he's on the couch, most likely slept on the couch. She walks out of the room, and she is laying on him, and they're both like, we need to be really careful. And it's like, yeah, you need to be really careful, because if they find out, you're likely going to be disqualified and you will not get that money. So now Zaya is on her date with Drew. They're talking, chatting, all that kind of stuff. And then I don't know if it was really accidental or if production told him to do it, but he spills wine on Zaya, and she's like, oh my goodness. So she stands up, she's wiping herself, trying to get things together. And he's being a gentleman, and then he gets out of the chair and he helps her out, all that good stuff. Production is like, okay, well, let's take a minute. So they go off to the side, and he's telling Zaya of all the different places that he can take her to, like a Mexican restaurant and all this kind of stuff. And as he's talking to her, she puts, I don't know why she did this, but she was like, I'm not sure why she did that, because again, I don't know if they realized it, but the cameras were still rolling. So as Terry is watching Zaya and Drew's episode, that part is shown. So now he's really uncomfortable. He's not okay with it at all. Terry is in the car, and he has a rose. As he's about to get ready to get out of the car, he does get a message from Brianna, because they do have an upcoming date. He goes upstairs, gets in the house, tells Zaya that he loves her. They kiss, they embrace, all that stuff. Zaya gets a message from Drew. Doing a lot. She gets a message from Drew. Well, at this point, Terry has walked away. And she sees the message, but she doesn't respond. She just looks at it and puts it down. So the next scene, we see that Zaya is getting comfy. She's, sitting back, and she's looking at the comments, because I think that's pretty normal, especially today. You're watching the show, whatever the show is, Love Island, Flavor of Love. Yes, it's old, but I know people still watch it. Big Brother, or whatever show it might be. As you're watching the show, you're likely going to be on social media seeing what other people are saying and also giving your 2 cents. So in this case, she's just looking at what they're saying, and she's just like, Terry and Bree are getting to know each other during their date. So like they're talking, getting to know each other. What do you like? What are your pet peeves? That kind of stuff. So then it switches to Drew and Jasmine. Now they're on their date, and Jasmine is just like, oh my goodness, again, because on her date with Terrence, they were doing some cooking, and then on this date with Drew, it's like they have them cooking again. So she's just like, oh my goodness, can it be something else? So meanwhile, Drew and Zaya, I'm just gonna call her Z. Drew and Z are messaging, and he's like, I guess that date isn't gonna happen, huh? And he's pretty much like, well, I didn't hear from you, so it was like, okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and go on this date with Jasmine. Terrence comes in and he tells, Z about the date, because she asks, like, hey, so, how was your date? And he was like, it was cool, like little sister vibes, like, it was okay. It was cool. It was fine. And she's just like, oh, really? Da, 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 da. And it's just like, okay. Seems like they're, like being really jokey or whatever. So they kiss and laugh. But they still remind each other, like, okay, we need to keep our game tight. We need to get it together. Pretty much don't forget the reason why you're doing this is what they're telling each other. I guess just to make sure that they don't lose focus. So it looks like every single time they say that, so that they don't forget the reason why they're playing the game. So of course they start making out, and then Drew messages her like, so you're just gonna leave me hanging? And it's just like, I don't know how much time had passed, but it just seems a bit much. But once again, Drew doesn't know what's going on with T and Z, so can't really blame him. But if it's just like after a couple of hours you're like, so you're gonna leave me hanging, then that's just okay, doing a bit much. Next, Z is at the studio, and she's talking with production about whatever, and then Ali comes. Oh, right, because Ali hadn't shown up. So Ali comes in, and he thinks he's, like Mr. Big Man or whatever. And Zaya is just like, yeah, fantastic. And he's like, amazing. And she's like, cool. And he's like, great. And he's like, can you show me to the fitting room? And she's like, can you show him where the fitting room is? And the PA is like, it's right down. Or it might be the producer. It's like right down there. And he just like walks away. And it's, oh my goodness, just feeling yourself much? Okay. And as he walks away, no, not as he walks away, but while she's talking to production, waiting for Ali, she does get a message from Drew again. And he's like, I hope it's memorable, because she did say something similar to him. And he's like, I hope it's memorable. So when Z gets in the car, T is like, how was your date with AC Slater? If you don't know, AC Slater was from Saved by the Bell, and Ali comes off as a guy who's, like gym bro, really into working out, really cares about his physique. Nothing wrong with that, but it's like I can see, how he's like the black AC Slater, because AC Slater, he always wanted to make sure that he was on point, almost always working out. I mean, he was a jock. So Z tells T not to watch her episode. No, not her episode. Z tells T not to watch his episode without her. And he's like, okay. She's like, no, I'm serious. Like, I'm about to go to the mall. Do not watch the next episode without me. Then it's like, okay, fine, whatever. They both hang up. So at this point, Z has already she's already gone to the mall. She comes back, she sits in the car, and she sees the comments. So at this point, what does Terrence decide to do after she said not to do that? He decides to watch his episode anyway. And it's like, they're very flirty. Terrence and Brianna were very flirty. Like he splashes some water on her. Like, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. And she's like, you think that's funny, huh? And then, of course, she ends up like, spraying some water on him. And he's like, oh, really, really, really? So at this point, he's like, like grabbing her. And the way that they did the edit, it makes it seem like he's like in her ear. And Z is in the car. She's looking at the comments, and there's like this gif that just keeps playing where it's like, like he's really close to her and she is uncomfortable. She does not. So, of course, visibly upset. Terrence is like, oh my goodness, like he's rubbing his chin. He is nervous. Now, whether he's nervous because of how they did the edit or whether he's nervous because of how Zaya is going to act, we shall see. So he's sleeping on the couch and Zaya walks in and she just looks at him. Like she just looks at him from a distance, and she gets a text from her sister and she's like, if I were you, I don't know how much longer I'd be able to keep this going. And she just, she looks at him again and then she walks away. And as she walks away, he wakes up. And he looks visible, like he looks concerned, he looks worried. There's just a feeling of uncertainty, and that is where episode 2 ends. So now it's a matter of, are they just not going to be talking to each other anymore? Are they going to, try to get a break? Are they going to set some boundaries? We're just going to have to see how the next episode goes, because it looks like there are still going to be dates going on. Of course, until one couple remains, and then when the couple, whoever ends up winning, they will get the money. Who do I think will win? I think Zaya and Terrence actually might win, but I feel like that might be too obvious, so I'm not sure. It's possible that they might want to take a break and, they are actually going to date these people, like take it a little bit more seriously. I'm not sure. We're just gonna have to see. So far it's okay, it's not bad, but I think as we get into episode 3, I'm going to enjoy it more. I'm not even going to try to compare it to the OG Hello Cupid, because that one was really good. Like, it was something I'd never seen before. It was something new, something fresh. Really enjoyed it. So I'm definitely not going to compare this to Hello Cupid with Whitney and Robin, because that one, I absolutely love that one. This one is okay. I think it's the pacing, but once again, we just need to see how things go from here. So I'm curious. Won't say I'm excited, but I am curious to see how things are going to go, especially since they're increasingly becoming uncomfortable with the different scenes that, like, if Terrence is in a scene, Zaya's uncomfortable. If Zaya's in a scene, Zaya's uncomfortable. So just gonna have to wait and see. But yeah, so that is Hello Cupid 3.0, episodes 1 and 2. Let me know what you think. If you've seen, don't let me know, no spoilers, but if you have seen episodes 1 and 2, let me know what you think. And in the comments, of course. And yeah, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much for watching. And remember, be optimistic and keep on moving no matter what.